10 for CNN 10, objective explanations of global news for a global audience. I'm Carl Azus. We've quoted health experts who've said this worldwide coronavirus pandemic is going to get worse before it gets better. The turnaround point is still unknown. When we assembled this show, there were more than 1,250,000 cases of COVID-19 confirmed around the world. Roughly a fourth of them are in the United States, the nation with the most cases. And the Trump administration says a big test is coming over the next couple weeks.
This will be probably the toughest week between this week and next week.
This is the moment to not be going to the grocery store, not going to the pharmacy, but doing everything you can to keep your family and your friends safe. And that means everybody doing the 6 feet distancing, washing your hands.
Coronavirus is expected to cause more deaths this year in America than the seasonal flu usually does. Keeping physical distance from other people is our most important tool, according to a U.S. medical official, and he says this may already be paying off in Washington state. Meanwhile, in New York, the hardest hit state, the governor says coronavirus deaths might be approaching their apex, their worst point, or that they could be hitting a plateau. This is because the number of daily deaths in New York slightly decreased at one point this weekend, though officials say it's still too early to tell if things are turning around there. There are other states that haven't seen the worst of this disease yet, and the lack of testing continues to be a problem in several parts of the U.S., so it's hard to get a clear picture of who's caught COVID-19. Over the weekend, there was a hopeful sign from Italy, where more than 15,000 people have died from coronavirus. On Sunday, the European country saw its lowest daily number of deaths in more than 2 weeks, and the number of patients in critical care also decreased for the second day in a row. So potentially good news there, but experts say it could still take some time before this happens across the United States.
Remember when spring breakers in Florida wouldn't stop partying, even after the coronavirus pandemic hit the United States? What happened when spring break was over?
We can actually track movement of these devices over the remaining weeks of March, seeing where these devices went after spring breakers left the beach.
So what you're seeing in this video is what happens if people do not exercise social distancing, where a group of individuals, or a few thousand people in this case, gathered at a beach in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and all the places they've traveled, showcasing how interconnected our world is.
Josh Anton runs Xmode, a company that tracks the movement of devices like cell phones. His team says it's used location data to track where everyone on the beach in Fort Lauderdale in March went after they left, including those spring breakers.
From New York to the Midwest, even Canada. The power of this location data, it can be used to understand not only, how people and where people are traveling post gathering, but also potentially to prepare and to be proactive if something happens, right? To be able to identify future hotspots of where the coronavirus could happen before it happens.
But the applications of Xmode's technology go way beyond sunburned co-eds. Anton says the company tracks 25 million devices every month in the United States and millions more around the world. Xmode says it would be willing to work with governments and other groups to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
We work with apps that have a real location use case for running location, whether it's transit apps, whether it's weather apps or apps that alert you about the earthquakes happening near you, right? We then integrate our location technology to allow data sharing, where a user can opt in to sharing their location data. We comply with GDPR, we comply with CCPA, but we try to go a step beyond it, which is being what we call privacy conscious.
The company claims it licenses that data to third parties, including advertisers, without any personal identifying information.
Can your technology be used to track individuals? Can it track me?
It could, right? But we don't allow that, and we don't allow any of our partners to do that because we just don't think that's the right thing to do.
While Anton says his company makes every effort to keep data secure and doesn't identify the owners of the devices it is tracking, there are serious privacy concerns about this kind of technology. In 2018, a New York Times investigation showed how location data could be used to identify the specific owner of a particular device.
I don't think a lot of people realize that even this technology exists, that it's out there. And I think some people are pretty creeped out. What would you say to folks who have concerns when they sort of see that you can track devices like this?
I'm going to quote Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, which is, with great power comes great responsibility, right? I think there's a fine line. I think it's very important that users consent to this, and it's very important that you act ethically with that data.
10-second trivia. Which of these nations is made up of 47 regions? France, Japan, Morocco, or Indonesia? With 47 prefectures or regions, Japan is the answer. Call it a virtual vacation, a pseudo-sabbatical, a fabricated field trip. No, it's not as good as going somewhere in person. But our new travel series can help us all escape the coronavirus news and restrictions. And while we have taken a trip to Tokyo recently, we haven't shown you the wonderland of northern Japan. If the cold never bothered you anyway, then the Hakoda Mountains in winter are a great place to see what's frozen.
When the winter snow starts falling in Japan's northern Tohoku region, a blizzard is never far behind. That's when most local residents find shelter indoors. Not Yutaka Ono.
What I like about snow hiking is the winter scenery. Nature is beautiful. I love it. It's like a Japanese ink painting in black and white, and a world of silence.
Ono is snowshoe trekking through the Hakoda Mountains, a series of volcanic peaks in the remote Aomori Prefecture. It's one of the snowiest, most wild places on Earth. The hotels, trees, even street lamps are buried in snow. For skiers, Hakoda's powder is the stuff of dreams. Many of the runs are on backcountry slopes, suited only for the most daring.
This place is a little different because there aren't very many cut runs into the mountain. It's a real kind of choose your own adventure, find your own path. It's very interesting.
Despite sub-zero winds, finding warmth here isn't hard. Thermal springs bubble across the mountain. People have bathed in onsens, as they're known here, for centuries. A winter wonderland, yes. But Japanese history also remembers Hakoda as a place of disaster, where the cold claimed the lives of a military expedition gone wrong over a century ago.
The landscape can be both beautiful and severe. This is Hakoda, and that's the nature of nature. But it's something that I want visitors to experience and enjoy here through guides like me.
Snowy, wild, and for Ono, a world of silence worth the trek.
There have been seismic changes around the world during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and we mean that literally. With lockdowns in place around the world, there are fewer vibrations in the earth that are normally caused by highway traffic, trains, buses, people moving around, going about their daily lives. The relative quietness has led to what scientists call less seismic noise, and that has made it easier for them to detect events like small earthquakes. So this is all a shakeup, but not tectonically. People still wake up, but they meet electronically. The ground has shifted. It's changed the nations. The footing is shakier. There are fewer good vibrations. This fault in our world and its seismic fate make a troubling historic time and plate. I'm Carl Azus. Our last stop today is in Roseville, California. We're happy to see the students of Roseville High School. Thank you for taking the time to watch CNN 10.